In an increasingly interdependent world, global shocks similar to the pandemic will be far more likely. For example, the world currently faces growing crises in climate and nature. This year, countries across Europe and around the world have also felt the impact of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And so it is vital that we use what we have learned from the pandemic in dealing with these and other emergencies.
I don't think anybody expected there to be a pandemic, but one was inevitable. I think the issue now going forward as we emerge from the pandemic we've had is how are we better prepared for the shock to the system, and that applies to any global shock. That's what I hope we are able to discuss in a non-judgmental fashion and learn some lessons that will be useful to every citizen and to all of society, and not just in Scotland.
So when I look back, I see enormous scientific discovery. I see resilience in families, in businesses, in children and adults, and I've met a host of people who have gone that extra mile to both care and treat and look after our population.
I don't think you could overestimate just how traumatic the pandemic has been for people in care homes and their relatives. I think there was an assumption that once people are in a care home, that their husbands, their wives, their daughters, their mothers, it's just not as important, but we were more important than any carer.
In social care, responding to the pandemic was like racing the tides up the sand. But instead of wet or dry feet, you were racing for life or death. So what's needed of us now is to rebuild from scratch, not build and repair. We need a new system, a system that's based on the plurality of responses that people need, not what the establishment thinks they should get.
Economic shocks, including the recent COVID-19 pandemic, typically widen inequalities, and we're seeing that once again with the cost of living crisis. So how to build resilience into our economy must be a priority in the years ahead. Likely reforms will come from many avenues, whether it be in the safety net provided during troubled times or tackling the root causes of inequalities from the outset.
You've got to be ready to prepare for, if you like, unknown unknowns. And I think the pandemic has taught us a lot of lessons about resilience and how to cope with these shocks.
We need to learn the lessons clearly from what we've done up until now and prepare and be more resilient as a country as we look ahead to the shocks that will come. We won't know from where, but they will come.